Lightfoot will reveal what she's learned about the financial troubles in South Suburban Dalton.
Dalton trustees hired the former Chicago mayor to investigate their own mayor's office.
When you see that the trustees are talking about layoffs, it gives you a clue that the financial situation is dire. I believe that it's really important for us to bring forward to the members of the public, the residents of Dalton, what we have found so far, because there's a lot of tough decisions that are going to have to be made. That has to be made in context and with full transparency.
Hold up, is Tiffany Henyard really trying to flee the country after new, hard-hitting evidence was uncovered against her and several members of her board of trustees?
May of 2024, which is a negative 3.65 million.
Over the last 3 fiscal years, the average monthly expenditures of the village have increased by nearly 30%. As you can see in the graphic, in fiscal year 2022, on average, the village spent about $1.9 million a month. But in the last fiscal year, that amount had climbed to $2.5 million.
It looks like the arrest we've all been waiting for is finally about to happen. The people who were protecting Tiffany from going to jail have now turned on her, throwing her under the bus after Lori Lightfoot presented them with never-before-seen, hard-hitting evidence. While Tiffany was able to shamelessly contest the previous evidence, she's now panicking over this new proof because she knows it could be the end of her. Things have gotten so bad that some members of the Board of Trustees are demanding her immediate arrest, fearing she might flee the country at any moment.
Trustees argue the mayor has not paid vendors and won't provide budget items explaining any spending. Tonight, Lightfoot will reveal what she's been able to uncover despite Henyard's unwillingness to cooperate. We did catch up with Lightfoot.
For those of you wondering who Lori Lightfoot is, she's the former mayor of Chicago, and the Board of Trustees in Dalton brought her in as a special investigator after they failed to gather any crucial evidence in their own attempt to investigate Tiffany's corruption. At first, some people were skeptical about bringing Lori on board, thinking she was too corrupt herself and would just try to protect Tiffany. Many in Dalton even believed Lori was involved in the whole thing and that there was more evidence against Tiffany, evidence that was enough to put her behind bars, but Lori didn't release it, possibly buying Tiffany more time to get away with her crimes. In fact, during a recent town hall meeting just a few weeks ago, Tiffany and her entourage caused a scene when they tried to stop Lori from speaking and updating everyone on the investigation. The whole thing felt like a setup, and people immediately started criticizing the Board of Trustees for hiring Lori in the first place, believing she was just as corrupt as Tiffany. One person said, "Corrupt mayor being investigated by a more corrupt mayor. This is a completely laughable situation. Hiring Lori Lightfoot to investigate Tiffany Henyard is like hiring a fox to guard the hen house. Dumb idea." Another person said, "One corrupt mayor versus another corrupt mayor. I keep telling my kids life. So much more entertaining than video games." All the corruption allegations against Lori seemed to fuel her determination to dig up as much dirt on Tiffany as possible, and she didn't hold back. Lori went all in, exposing every bit of evidence she could find against Tiffany. One of the key things she uncovered was how Tiffany's actions had unfolded since she first took office. Dalton's general fund balance was $5.61 million, but by May of 2024, the balance had dropped to a deficit of $3.65 million. As if that wasn't bad enough, Lori also uncovered detailed credit card transactions totaling thousands of dollars, which were traced back to Tiffany's expensive online shopping sprees while she was supposed to be managing the town's finances. And in case you're wondering what exactly Tiffany was spending this money on, buckle up because you won't believe what she was purchasing. It turns out she was using these credit cards to make purchases at Amazon, Target, Walgreens, Wayfair, and other retailers. Notably, one purchase made on Amazon amounted to $33,000 on January 5th of 2023. That same exact day, two more purchases were made on that site. One of them was for $471.15 and another was for $5,000. She also spent over $7. She also spent over $7,000 at Wayfair and $2,200 at Best Buy, as well as a total of $102,000 on vacation trips to other countries in just the past year alone. But if you thought that was bad, just wait until you hear the rest, because it only gets worse from here. Lori Lightfoot's investigation also uncovered that, as of June 18th of 2024, at least 589 checks amounting to over $6 million were approved and printed but never sent to vendors. Keep in mind, these vendors rely on their payments to feed their families, but of course, Tiffany didn't care. She was only focused on herself and preferred to use all that money to fund her lavish lifestyle instead.
From the John Casparin firm, as of June 18, 2024, there are 589 checks totaling over $6 million that have been approved, printed, but not transmitted to vendors.
But it wasn't just vacation trips and huge billboards with her face on them that Tiffany was using Dalton's money for. Lori also uncovered that Tiffany was bribing police officers, getting them to do special favors for her. While it's unclear exactly what those favors were, it's safe to assume they weren't anything good, especially since she was paying them thousands of dollars in overtime. And for some reason, all of this flew under the radar until Lori took over the investigation. Lori also found out that 2 police officers had received overtime pay exceeding their annual salaries. One officer's salary for fiscal year 2024 was $887,000, and yet the officer received $114,000 in overtime pay. Officer 2 had a salary of $73,000 and received $112,000 in overtime pay for the fiscal year 2024.
These individuals in the last 2 years have earned more in overtime than their base compensation. It's our understanding that he is not part of the collective bargaining unit and has not been for some time, which under normal circumstances would mean that he is not entitled to overtime. But as you can see here, for FY22, FY23, and FY24, and we're now in fiscal year 2025, through those 4 years, he's accumulated $215,747,000 just in overtime.
Now, I know why all heard the gasps in that room when the details came out. Tiffany was paying those 2 officers more in overtime than their actual salaries, and not a single person thought something fishy wasn't going on. Once the FBI caught wind of this and Lori submitted the evidence, subpoenas were issued for the feds to search through all of Tiffany's properties and dig up even more evidence on her corrupt actions. In the first subpoena, they reportedly seeking personnel files, way and tax documents, time and attendance records, contracts and checks written to cash from Henyard's multiple endeavors, a restaurant she owns, a property management company she runs, her political action company, and a charity in her name. In the second subpoena, they're seeking financial documents of the township like budgets, payroll records and ordinances, cover and credit card purchases, expense reports and reimbursements, security details and use of vehicles. And baby, they found a whole lot of incriminating evidence. On top of all this, Tiffany's access to Dalton's accounts has been restricted until the investigation is over, so she won't be able to embezzle any more money than she already has, according to reports. The Board of Trustees approved a freeze on credit card spending amid the ongoing federal investigation. But it doesn't end there. Word on the street is, while all these town hall meetings have been happening and decisions were being made, Lori Lightfoot has still been deeply investigating the case. She's even gone as far as looking into some of the people who may have helped Tiffany carry out her corrupt actions. This evidence hasn't been made public yet, but according to reports, it's going to be the final nail in the coffin for Tiffany. As usual, people have their own opinions about it, like this one commenter who said, "I'm impressed by Lori Lightfoot. She did a thorough investigation, found some major is, and she's not even done with it fully yet. Glad the residents and trustees are finally getting some answers." Another person said, "This is beyond sickening. Inflation is at an all-time high, and the Henyard admin is destroying the lives of residents without a care in the world. Heads will roll." But now I want to know your thoughts. What do I all think about all this new evidence that Lori Lightfoot has found against Tiffany? Do you really think Tiffany's going to end up behind bars anytime soon? Why all know what to do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other very messy video.